I don't disagree with those specific calls. I would say probably the third down thing is the only issue I have. And then the hit out of bounds.
There were a few others. That
that was a PI.
Which one?
Was it? No, it wasn't Eli Apple.
On
the Bengals. That was a PI. He grabbed him.
Yeah, it was close. But
you grab hips, it's a PI.
Yeah, there were a few others that I just was like, I don't know. I think in a championship game, the officials should not factor in any way, and I felt like they did a little bit. And because there were a couple of plays that the third down one was the big one.
Yeah.
Was that where that nobody heard the whistle, like and they finally found one camera angle where you could see a guy kind of waving his arms, but he was the only one. Like that was bad, and that was a bit of a game changer, or affected it a little bit. But I hope for a day where we just get a clean game.
Yeah, well, and
when it matters.
Honestly, one of the big calls that didn't end up playing a factor in it in the NFC Championship game was the Devontae Smith catch, no catch.
That was bad.
And he signals to the team, no huddle quick. Smart move by him because he knew he didn't catch it, but...
Well, and what was funny is Greg Olsen was explaining on the broadcast that every team kind of has those code words of when they're not sure, and that tells everybody, hey, hurry up, get to the line. I know we won't say anything, but we're going to have Eagles punter Brett Kern on at 10:30. I'm going to ask him what the sideline was like during all of that.
Well, and obviously Purdy got hurt and the game wasn't close, but, you think about if that game was separated by a touchdown or a field goal or something like that, that would be a huge factor. And I heard Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max talking about it this morning. Keyshawn's like, it was a catch. It was ruled a catch. What was it ruled? But it's like, you watch it and the angle of it, the guy's back was to the ref and they didn't see it. But when they replayed it, it was very clear, not a catch.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is I don't know how you missed that. And like how, I know you have to challenge it at that point, but, I've always wondered, and I doubt I will ever get this answer unless it's Pereira or somebody that, is a retired ref that just doesn't care anymore. But, a lot of those TV refs, as I call them, they're still loyal to the group. And I want to be like, is there ever a time where you botched one? Like, you completely missed one and y'all just don't talk about it? And even though that it's going to be on national television that you botched one, like in game, do you ever think about it? I'd be very curious to get a straight answer out of somebody on that. Because I would think that they might have had an idea or somebody told them like, hey, we missed that one.
Yeah, and, I actually tweeted last night after the Bengals game, it was a combination. And I think that they should be required to speak to the media and not just one person speak to one reporter. To the
pool reporter?
To the pool reporter. I think that they should be required to speak to, they should be available to all of the media because, it's really unfair because the questions are then directed towards the coach or towards the player. And, what are they supposed to say? Hey, I thought I was doing this. I don't agree with it. But, when calls like this, or you think about the Rams-Saints game, to go to the Super Bowl years ago, right? Like when calls like this are big factors in these games, I think they should be required to speak to the media.
I agree with you, but here's why they don't, and here's why they won't until this
I know they won't.
Well, in this, I actually kind of agree that they shouldn't because they're not full-time employees. If they were full-time employees of the NFL, then hell yeah, absolutely, they should be. The white hat, the chief ref, should be the referee. Should be required to go and do a press conference, if they're requested. If they're not requested, then that's fine. But if it's a controversial game and they hide behind they can be made available to the pool reporter, that's a little different. Think about if I'm going to use Sean Hockley as an example, because Sean Hochuli does a lot of high-profile games. Could you imagine him walking into the Titans media room and Kaharski's there, chirping at him, asking him questions? I mean, these officials, Tolbert last night, I would love that. Because it's like there's some things that I'd have some questions on.
Well, and it comes down to the issue that, the NFL, we see it in college, we see it with officiating, on all forms of sports, right? These people, first off, the NFL has plenty of money, right? College athletics has plenty of money. These guys need to be put on and be actually paid a livable wage as full-time employees, have benefits, because the amount of money that these sports generate and bring in is astronomical. And then for these calls to be so important in some of the biggest games of the year, and for that matter, sometimes deciding factors, it's a whole issue in itself. But I agree. That's the reason they aren't made available, because the NFL is like, well, they're just kind of, they act as if they're just, these part-time employees that don't play such a huge role.
Well, and there's this perception, and in some ways I kind of think it might be true, that the NFL want, they have a narrative that they want,
gosh,
that they want the Andy Reid Bowl, or they this is the outcome that they want. And look, I don't.
No.
Hang on. I don't buy into the NFL fixing games. I've never been that much of a conspiracy theorist, but I understand why people think that, because some of the egregious calls. We got one texter, Jeff, says, again, critical calls or non-calls that determine the outcome of games are the absolute norm for the NFL. So many people are now done with the NFL. He's not wrong. That's very, very true. And I'm not the hit out of bounds was a bang bang call. It was the right call, and I feel for Asai, but I know you're going after it. You don't know where you are. You're just trying to make the play. He was out of bounds, and you got to have that instinct to pull up. But again, it happens. They made the right call there, and that was a dagger. That was a dagger. But that didn't lose them the game.
Your offense was on the field right before the Chiefs. You had a chance.
The Chiefs brought pressure. You had a offensive line that was put together with duct tape and baling wire because you had so many injuries, and it showed. There were a lot of little things, but that whole third down fiasco. That was a big one. Eli Apple is not very good, and so I definitely agree with you that was a PI. But there was one, I'm trying to remember. It's been a morning. Trying to remember.
Preaching to the choir.
Exactly, yeah. Where this other one was. But there was a couple other calls, and I'm like, really? Like, that was very Chiefs friendly. And, but that's kind of the way it is. But until they make them full-time and hold them to be more accountable, that's what this is going to be. It's just nothing's going to change there.
I don't know if I necessarily, or I don't really agree. I think in every game you can find, calls to each way. I don't think at the end of the day they were fully, on the Chiefs' side. I definitely think that I think the roughing the passer call, Joe Burrow should have gotten the roughing the passer towards the end of the game, when they.
Well, they don't even know what that is anymore.
Yeah, so like that would have been called, on a Brady, a Rodgers, a Mahomes, and you would think a Burrow too, but I think that was definitely a call that should have been made, roughing the passer towards the end of the game. As far as PIs holding, you're going to find that, and people are like, well, they didn't call one here and they called one there. You can find that every other play in the NFL. Those are a little bit more lenient, I guess you could say, as far as missing one or making one, because there's so many throughout the game. But, roughing the passer, you got to have that. Or some of the critical ones just towards the end of the game, or even just an explanation as to what actually happened more on the third down play, and then allowing them to, replay and then replay again. So, yeah, it's that's what it was. Byron Texan, the intentional grounding one. That was an interesting one.
That one, yeah. That was not grounding.
So Mixon
Mixon was right there.
And
he was out of the pocket.
Yeah, on the broadcast, they showed that Mixon was right there. And then, yes, Byron also brings up again, Mahomes had a very, very similar one right after when they had the ball in the game-winning drive.
And Romo said the only way I could kind of see it is, did it get to the line of scrimmage? I mean, I know the ball has to get to the line of scrimmage, but yeah, I don't know. I thought that was close. And again, like, and this is the argument. 615-737-1025 is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Because I'm going to tell you my stance, but I want to know everybody else's stance. I think in a championship game, being by the book, like letter for letter by the book, is not in the best interests of the fans and the league. And I'll explain that in more in depth coming up next. But I want your calls and your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. It's Chase and Michelle, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knezovic here for Superbook Sports. It's the final drive to the championship. We've got our final two teams, Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in Arizona for the championship. And there's no better place to wager on the football title than Superbook Sports. Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at Superbook.com. The line has already adjusted a bit. Kansas City started off as favorites. Now it's Eagles -2. Listen, I'm going to take them. I think that the Eagles are going to be this year's Super Bowl champions. And with over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas, there's no better place to wager on that than Superbook Sports. Win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app today. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Signs First, Nashville's trusted vehicle wrap and graphics one-stop shop. From one-off custom applications to entire company fleets, Signs First delivers superior quality both locally and nationally since 1991. Be creative. Get noticed. Signs First. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off or get 18 months of no payments. That's right, no payments until summer 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, servicing southern Middle Tennessee. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Hey guys, it's the new year. We popped the champagne, kissed at midnight, and it's time to make a new start. But if you aren't popping like you used to because of erectile dysfunction or low testosterone, maybe your new start should be making a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. You see, ED is just a medical condition affecting men of all ages. But the good news is that ED is highly treatable. In fact, the medical experts at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have successfully treated thousands of men, with ED treatments having success rates as high as 90%. And with a variety of ED treatment options, including acoustic wave therapy, they can likely find the right one for you. too. You might even find your cork is popping like it hasn't in years. Plus, their low T treatments are highly effective. So many men have experienced life-changing results, from increased energy to more productive workouts, feeling more rested, and enjoying a greater sex drive too. So make 2023 the year you get free of ED and low T. Make an appointment. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a more comprehensive approach, including a testosterone lab panel and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex start results vary.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball?
Intercepted right all by himself for a one-hand flush.
Your home for the Commodores is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Put it up. It's good. Count it.
Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pulls a trigger. Yes, from three.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app. Taking you through your mid-morning.
Love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. This is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life.
Where'd you find those crazy characters?
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezovic, Nick Keyser. Jonathan Hutton, who usually joins us at 10:30 on Monday, is going to join us in a few minutes at 9:30 because Brett Kern, Eagles punter, is going to join us at 10:30 today. He was nice enough to make it work with his schedule, so moving a few things around, but looking forward to talking to Brett about, man, what a year he's had. Now he's going to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited. I was texting with him last night and really excited for him and his family as he was sitting on the couch and gets a call, goes to Philly, and now he gets to punt in the Super Bowl. So that's going to be really, really cool to catch up with him. But discussing the officiating. And here's my thought, and this is what I mean. In a championship game, in a Super Bowl game, whatever, I think it's okay to not swallow the whistle, but be a little, let them play. Don't call these ticky-tack, close calls like that grounding call. Okay, I can see the argument of maybe it was close because the line of scrimmage. But Mixon was close enough that I think you could say, you know what, all right, let it go. But too many times you see these guys that they want to be so by the book and, they have no idea what I don't think the book even knows what roughing the passer is anymore.
So this was the pool reporter on, and this is quoting it. So they interviewed referee Ron Torbert and said, here we go. Walk us through the intentional grounding play in the fourth quarter and what led it to be intentional grounding to be called in the situation. This is Torbert, quote, "The quarterback was under duress, in danger of being sacked, and threw the ball into the ground. There was no eligible receiver in the area." We just said that Mixon was right there.
Close.
And he had not gotten out of the pocket and thrown it on the line of scrimmage. So that was a foul for intentional grounding.
He did get out of the pocket. If you watch and I'm not saying this to you.
No, yeah.
If you watch the tape, he does. He's out of the pocket.
Yeah.
So
and they can say it. So Allie in Bellevue on our text line, as fans, we can get mad when refs insert themselves at the end of a game and then request eye for an eye anytime a tic-tacky call creeps through. So, that's the hard thing, right? You can rewatch the game and you can screenshot and find calls everywhere because there's 20 plus players out there and refs and it's hard, but you bring up the point, Chase. When you're in games like this and a Super Bowl is on the line, be over, I don't know. Oh,
let me ask you this. Would you be okay if basically the NFL, and this is a hypothetical that's never going to happen, if they came out and they just said any rule that is a safety concern will remain? So, helmet to helmet, anything that, is for player safety, but anything else, we don't care anymore. So if you want to hold, you can hold. If you want to,
absolutely not.
But I mean that I'm playing both sides here. But that's kind of where I think people are at. Of like, there's all these ticky-tack close calls that will take away from a game. But I mean, ultimately, that's what it would be. I just wish that you'd have more consistency among the crews. There's some crews that are better than others. There's some crews that are going to be like Ed Hockley. I loved Ed Hockley. He wasn't always right, but I liked him and his crews because for the most part, they were going to ensure the integrity of the game, but they were also going to let him play, especially when there was a lot on the line. And that's all I'm asking for.
No, and you want consistency, and believe me, I'm on the same boat, but, I'm going to play devil's advocate. If I'm an official and I get paid, a part-time wage, I've got a whole other job, I don't have benefits from this job, and I'm running on however many hours of sleep because I'm just trying to, put food on the table or have a living wage, right? Like, am I going to be 100% there all the time? Probably not. So it brings it back to the question and the issue of paying these officials more and paying them like real employees, because you can't expect consistency and things like that when they don't treat them at the level that they should be treated.
I love this this text we just got from an unnamed texter. The NFL needs to add the Sky Ref that can review calls. So the XFL and I think even the USFL put this in. They had the Sky Judge, the Sky Ref, that's up in the booth and has a better view of everything. I would agree with that because, you see other sports where, like, for instance, at the Predators game the other day, there was a high stick called, and they initially called it on the Predators. They looked at it, and they determined that it was actually I think it was against St. Louis maybe, that it was his own player's stick, and so therefore there was no penalty. I'm fine with that. I know that people don't want to spend 4 hours at a game because they're reviewing every call, but if it's one that it's close and like it's clear that it's close, then take a quick look at it. I'm okay with it. I would rather them get it right and take a little extra time to get it right than have a missed call. For instance, in college football, that Devontae Smith catch, that would have been looked at. And I get that
or if it was a scoring play, it would have been looked at.
Right,
so,
if it was a scoring play. But I kind of am like, because I didn't see it. I was like, damn, hell of a catch. But
he got up so quickly, and they did the no huddle, and that's why.
And that's when he did that, I was like, oh, did he catch that? And then they show the other angle after commercial break, and it's like, oh.
So Rexford actually texted both of us on our personal text line, and he said he was not remotely out of the pocket. And if you re-watch this, he also sent us the replay here. Burrow was not out of the pocket for this. And then, watching it, he's about to get sacked, throws the ball probably a foot in front of Mixon, but right at the ground, not like he's throwing it to him. I don't have the Mahomes one in front of me right now, but.
Okay, I might give Joe that he was still in the pocket. There was one angle that it looked like he was more out of it than the other. But, of course, leave it to Uncle Joe to, come in and
thanks, Rex.
Pour the cold water on everything.
No, and it can look, especially if you're not watching them side by side, that the Mahomes one later in the game was, you can say, the same or whatever. But when you watch this, I'm watching it back right now. Yeah, that he's spiking it.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. Maybe I'll be wrong on that one. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Rex.
Appreciate you.
We have a couple more texts. One text on the text line. I believe it was Belichick who wanted penalties and non-called penalties to be challengeable.
When was that?
Text us back in.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're referring to in this, or maybe I'm just missing it.
All right, we have a caller. We have a new call screener, and I can't read the name. So, Nick, help me out.
This is Joe. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I read the wrong name too, Chase Bomb. I'm so sorry. Drew is wanting to weigh in on officiating. Drew, how we doing?
Hi, Drew.
I'm doing fine. Thank you for taking my call. I'm just calling. I already remember Ed Hockley, his crew, made a major mistake when Chris Johnson was about to make history and breaking Eric Dickerson record when he busted a 65-yard touchdown run, and it was called back on a blatant holding call by the fullback sergeant. And when they reviewed it, it wasn't even a holding call. So I can't say that Hockley, and it's still on my mind as of this day. And I don't even like his crew. So that's just my take on it. So, hey, appreciate you appreciate you answering my call.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. And
Thanks,
look, he wasn't perfect. I mean, I know he wasn't perfect, and I know which one he's talking about, but I was just using him as an example. Jeff says, remember yesterday's play that stumped the officials when they weren't sure if the ball hit the overhead guide wire? An announcer said drones are needed. Well, we'll ask Brett Kern because he was very much a part of that play.
And I need to apologize to Brett Kern because I'm sitting in my living room and I'm like, what was that punt from Brett Kern? He's so consistent. And then I see this confused look on his face and I'm like, wait, what just happened? And they're talking about it. No, and I mean, honestly, the drone aspect of it is interesting.
Yeah, but the first time a punter just nails one.
Yeah, of course, right? It's in this game. But I will say I never actually got certified, but I took a drone class, and there's a lot of, airspace and rules and regulations that you can't use it for work flying over people. So, in a football stadium, it would be very tricky to figure that out.
I got a drone for Christmas and put it in a tree in the first 10 minutes. So I would not be good.
Yeah, you have to be really careful, but I think that's probably the biggest thing is, if you're using it for commercial use, which for the NFL, you can't fly over people. So unfortunately, that wouldn't be an option. I think that's the reason they probably have those sky cams and haven't transitioned to drones.
Coming up next, we'll talk to Jonathan Hutton, Outkick 360, get his thoughts on championship weekend and also a little bit with the Titans. We'll do that on Chase and Michelle. We are presented by Hair Club. Love your hair, live your life, creating custom hair loss solutions for men and women on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's trivia time. You think you're pretty smart? Well, come on out Wednesday, February 1st to Boom Ba's East and test your trivia skills. Featuring Willie Donick as Trivia Master, all proceeds support STARS and the hope, health, and connection of young people in our community. Register your team of no more than 4 and let the competition begin. Go to starsnashville.org to officially sign up. That's starsnashville.org. See you February 1st at Boom Ba's East.
Score amazing deals and get ready for the big game at Electronic Express. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, smart home, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Get big game ready in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Want to be the real hero this Valentine's? Genesis Diamonds makes it easy with the Total Romance Package. It's the jewelry, the flowers, the candy, and the dinner out. All the key ingredients for a memorable Valentine's celebration. Here's how it works. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you some gourmet chocolates, a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward dinner at STK Steakhouse. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas for the occasion. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. And of course, if you're thinking of getting engaged this Valentine's, Genesis can create the ring of her dreams with our dazzling GIA diamonds and designer mountings. Unlimited possibilities. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis Diamonds. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolate, and gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save it, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Jason Michelle podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
I got some good news. Taking you through your mid-morning, this is Jason Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay and Michelle Knezvik here with you. We say hello to Jonathan Hutton, Outkick 360. Usually he joins us at 10:30 on Mondays, but appreciate him moving around. Because, Hut, look, we got a punter coming on. I'm sorry. We had to move some stuff around. Hope you understand.
Absolutely. When Brett Kern is willing to come on the show, Super Bowl participant Brett Kern, absolutely. I'm moving out of the way.
Yeah, that's going to be cool talking to him. Just your thoughts on we've spent the first half hour of the show talking about officiating because, you know, while I agree that the late hit out of bounds by Asai, I mean, that was the right call. Mahomes was out of bounds at that point. You got to know where you're at. But I think overall the officiating in the Bengals and Chiefs game was not very good. It was inconsistent, and that's kind of the theme that we see in the National Football League and really all sports these days. And I don't know how you fix it, but it is frustrating to see. So I kind of wanted your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It was very inconsistent. I felt it was lopsided as a neutral observer with some of the calls there that did not go Cincinnati's way. You mentioned Asai. I don't have a problem with that flag. I mean, I think any NFL fan knows that if you place a fingertip on a quarterback nowadays, there's a chance that we're going to see the yellow flag. Both games really were interesting in regards to officiating and the pace of play and the Devontae Smith catch and how fast things go. With, I think, by and large, the average coach in the league with the opportunity to have the eye in the sky wants to get the call right. There's an element of human error that makes Major League Baseball fans want to continue to have umpires instead of the automatic ball and strike zone. And in regards to the NFL, they have, and we've been conditioned to have so much technology around each and every call and every moment that when there's something so egregious that should go the opposite way and it takes time, well, you're upset that they're actually trying to get the call right. I say you in general, all of us. And whenever they don't get the call right or they don't have time to look at it or it's a judgment call, we're upset that they don't have the ability to go to the film or go to the review and automatically get it right. It's sometimes extremely frustrating, especially, Chase, in regards to the championship weekend where you've got the best teams playing from each conference. And it's an all-star crew of officials that they put together. I think they should reward the crews individually throughout the season, the guys that routinely are with each other week after week after week, instead of the all-star grouping and pairings that they do, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense whenever it comes down to whether or not a call was right or how it affected a game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Jonathan Hutton is with us from Outkick 360. So speaking of rules, I have a rule proposal for the NFL in the Rules Committee to consider. And that is basically saying that every team can carry 3 quarterbacks, and the third quarterback basically is its own roster spot. It doesn't count against the 53. It's just you're allowed to dress 3 and not get penalized for it, because I know that it's a part of the game. Injuries happen. But I just look at yesterday, and I even look at the Titans. I think the Titans can be a prime example of that they lose Logan Woodside because they didn't want the third-round pick to be plucked off the practice squad, even though I think we all saw Malik Willis was nowhere near ready to be a backup in this league, and they end up losing Woodside because of the way the rules are. I would like to see teams be allowed to carry 3, not have to worry about it, and that third guy is just its own spot. And that way, maybe we see a little bit of a not necessarily a different outcome yesterday, but I just think it would help teams out a lot if they could have that emergency third quarterback actually be on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, it really handcuffed things yesterday with Shanahan's inability to throw the football. You know, it took away his complete offense, and any offense. It's bizarre seeing these teams run it, seeing them run it whenever they needed to throw it to get back in the game, or at least keep it competitive. I think at minimum, it makes the game more watchable in the fourth quarter. And, you know, who knows what ends up happening. It's very clear that Purdy had no chance of coming back in that game and throwing the football effectively based on how they acted whenever he had to go back in. The emergency quarterback should be reinstated because of the new concussion protocol, where the neutral observer, the neurologists, are up top watching for a stagger, a stumble, a guy that gets up a bit woozy. And as soon as that player is flagged, they're out. There's no passing concussion protocol on the sideline. The new protocol says they're out until they pass concussion protocol during the week, even if you don't have a concussion. Right. Case in point was Teddy Bridgewater in New York earlier this year. So that in and of itself, I think, will bring back the emergency quarterback. But to just tie everything together, looking at the depth chart of San Francisco and this is through Our Lads. I was looking at Our Lads and the overall depth chart. You go to the practice squad of San Francisco, they don't carry a quarterback on their practice squad. They have 2 quarterbacks, and they let Jacob Eason go on January 3rd, I think in large part because they thought Jimmy G was going to come back during the postseason, right, and Josh Johnson would go back to the practice squad. So even if they had the emergency quarterback option yesterday, San Fran had 2 quarterbacks to play in that game. So that's first and foremost. Second, the NFL will point back to 2011 where the NFLPA negotiated, and this is something that they won. They didn't actually lose, which the majority of the time they lose. They added from 45 to now 46 men on the active game day roster. It used to be 45 plus the emergency quarterback. So the NFL would point to, well, you still have the extra roster spot. You have 46 instead of 45. NFL teams, though, coaches use that spot, that extra spot, for depth at other positions, and that's exactly what San Francisco did yesterday, because by and large, you need depth at other spots more than you do quarterback based on how the rules protect the position. But now the concussion protocol, especially at that position where all eyes are on them, is so ramped up, and rightfully so, that they have to make sure they have a downfield option when it comes to 3rd down and 7 instead of some of the handoffs we were seeing yesterday.
We got Jonathan Hutton on with us from Outkick 360. Jonathan, this year was a big prove-it year for Patrick Mahomes, you know, with not having Tyreek Hill on his roster. And in 5 years as a starter, he's hosted his 5th AFC Championship game. He's going to his 3rd Super Bowl. He's probably going to win a 2nd MVP. Do you think that Patrick Mahomes can already be classified as one of the best ever?
Yes. I mean, he's one of 3 quarterbacks in the history of the game to pass for 5,000 yards twice in a career. Peyton Manning and Drew Brees are the other, or excuse me, Brady and Brees are the other 2. And so that's number one. He's already gone over 40 touchdown passes as well a couple times in his career, including this season. And now he's doing it hobbled. You know, the run at the end of the game on Osai's penalty, but the run itself, considering how everyone in Nashville is certainly conditioned to high ankle sprains with their quarterback, that's typical Patrick Mahomes. And I would also, qualify is he viewed as one of the best ever? When he got the football, you knew they were going to go down and win.
Yep.
It's no different than when the Titans were in overtime with the Chiefs and Kansas City won the toss ball game. Malik Willis got the football, and you know, we knew they were not going to go down and get points and get that game going. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I do feel like he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder. You said prove it year. That's how I would describe Hurts, but you're right. There is a prove it mentality with this entire Kansas City roster, which is very rare for a team that's hosted 5 straight AFC championships and that's going to their 3rd Super Bowl in however many years it is now, 4 or 5, 6. So it's been interesting to follow. Andy Reid's going against his former team. You have the Kelsey Bowl. Yeah. You have everyone talking trash about Arrowhead Stadium, which the players take personal, and that's also intriguing that the players care that much to shout out Arrowhead so much in the trash talk post game. And on top of that, Mahomes is slighted because everyone's doubting his ankle. Everyone's pointing to Burrow and Burrowhead Stadium, and Joe Burrow's about to take over the mantle of top quarterback in the league, and he's right there. But everything still goes to Arrowhead, and everyone at the position is compared to Patrick Mahomes.
And listen, Travis Kelce was very excited to grab the mic and let them know.
That was awesome.
Let the Cincinnati Mayor know it is not Burrowhead. But on the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles, you got Brett Kern and A.J. Brown, former Titans, competing for a Super Bowl. This morning on Robbie and Rexroad, we got a lot of fan reaction on, are people excited for those two to compete for a Super Bowl, or are they not? Obviously, there's still a little bitter taste in their mouth with the A.J. Brown trade. Do you think that the A.J. Brown trade and looking at how it's panned out could affect John Robinson's future as a general manager in the NFL?
Yeah, it could. It could. But keep in mind, the GM spots are interesting because by and large, you don't get a second opportunity as a general manager once you're fired. It's puzzling because they go with the young up-and-coming scouts and personnel department leadership more than they do retreads at the GM spot. It's very opposite on the head coaching end of things. So the young GMs go with the more experienced and oftentimes less qualified candidates based on their previous history. But we view the general manager spot differently because of the overall management of a roster. And I think in large part because the current GMs are much more familiar than the current scouts across the league or the personnel department heads. So I think that plays a factor in the overall perception of the position. But Robinson's also going to be able to point to how he revamped the roster here whenever he took over. And I think he'll be able to lay out a plan, much like he did in front of Amy Adams Strunk, that presents himself in a much better light than that trade does. So do I think Robinson was a good GM? Yes. Do I think he has put together, in the current state of things, a depth on a position by position that's good enough to win in the postseason? No. The deepest teams right now are winning when guys go down, and the Titans, by and large, did a decent job because of their head coach and their coaching staff of making the most out of what they've had, and we kind of overlooked their overall depth issues because of that. They were still winning at 7-3 this season. They were still winning. So, yeah, I think he can win over another owner, but it's got to be the right owner, the right position, and the right pitch for him to step in and do that.
Jonathan Hutt, Outkick 360 with us. Hutt, appreciate it as always. Thanks for moving around today, and we'll be listening 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan to you and Chad Withrow, better known as Chutton.
Chutton will be in full effect today, Chase. Michelle, have a great day, and always enjoy this, guys. I appreciate you.
Listen, tell Chad, go Wildcats.
I'll let him know. I'll get him in the perfect mood by saying that.
Absolutely. He is
Hutton.
Jonathan Hutton, Outkick 360, 2 to 5 weekdays on 94.9 The Fan. I have a question for Michelle and all of you as it regards to the Titans, because there's been a lot of movement in a certain position around the league. We'll do that coming up next. Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. Backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is... Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game. Right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection keeps you in the game. That's why we always wore our helmet and our pads on the field. Life too comes at you with risks. So I got vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. Hi, I'm former Tennessee Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Talk to your doctor and get the information that you need to make the informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and family against COVID-19.
More information at nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards. Close in about 14 days and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
When that door closed behind me and I was free, the main thing I wanted to do was just re-enter society, get a job, and see my family.
It's okay.
There's a new state office of re-entry in Tennessee, specifically to help folks like me get jobs. Go to tnworkready.com or visit your local American Job Center. Re-entry is a normal thing, and it's okay.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
tnworkready.com.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
You're listening to Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 1025, 1063 The Game. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezvik, reporter Nick Keyser with you on this Monday. Brett Kern, former Titans, current Eagles punter, going to join us at 10:30. Looking forward to chatting with him as he'll head to the Super Bowl with A.J. Brown, which I know is tough for Titans fans. But speaking of the Titans, I have this question. And by the way, with the NHL on the All-Star break, no power play today and this week. We'll touch on it a little bit, but the Predators officially on their All-Star break. Where are the Titans now in their offensive coordinator search? The fact that they have not hired Tim Kelly, I brought this up last week, and I heard Robbie and Joe talking about it this morning. If they were going to do it, I think they would have done it already. I'm not saying that they can't go back and he can be hired, but I feel like that it could be thought that he's not the first choice if they go at this point. Because I believe their first choice is going to be playing in 2 weeks. That's what I think. I think it's
a lot of people's probably.
I think it's one of the Chiefs guys. Now, to your point, how many other teams are interested in them also? It would appear Eric Bieniemy's probably not going to get a head coaching job at this point. Maybe. I mean, I think Houston's about to hire DeMeco Ryans, which makes a ton of sense. He's emerged as the front runner.
Cardinals is still open.
Cardinals is still open. Broncos are still open. Mm-hmm. Colts are still open, even though I think it's going to be Jeff Saturday.
Really? I saw a report this weekend that said he wasn't the favorite. Who did they just interview for 14 hours the other day? Did you see that?
I did not. Because
a 14-hour interview. 12 to 14 hours.
What
are
you doing 12 to 14 hours? Is
what
there
did
lunch
Irsay
in
give
there?
you an itinerary and say, okay, this is what our day's going to look like?
Y'all go, check out the stadium?
I don't know. McDaniels had some interesting comments about when he interviewed, so who even knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
But, as far as the Tennessee Titans and their offensive coordinator, there's a couple different factors you can look in. I was pretty confident that, Tim Kelly, I was pretty confident that after Rand Carthon was hired, then it would have been by the end of last week that they would announce Tim Kelly as the offensive coordinator. Obviously, that hasn't happened, which makes me think, okay, are they waiting maybe for an Eric Bieniemy or a Matt Nagy? Obviously, they're still playing, and they'll be playing for the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. But I don't think that Tim Kelly is out of the equation. I just don't think he is the clear favorite, because I think if he was, then he would have already been named it. But they're still waiting to, interview Nagy or Bieniemy. But I think a lot of that, too, will have to do with, what are Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon thinking at the quarterback position? Because when you're getting or picking whoever you want your offensive coordinator to be or interviewing them, that's going to be probably their number one question. Hey, who's our quarterback going to be? What is the offense going to look like next year?
Yeah.
And you need to have some sort of plan or image or view that you can draw out to them and say, okay, we want to go get Brady at quarterback, and X, Y, and Z is going to happen. But, on the flip side, if you get a guy like Brady or Rodgers, which reports from Adam Schefter came out this weekend that says, the Packers are open to, trading Aaron Rodgers to the AFC, not an NFC team. So that's another interesting layer of things, right? If you get one of those veteran guys, are they going to have a say on who your offensive coordinator is? I know Mike Vrabel will be hiring that position, but they're guys in the league and they know who they like and they know who they don't.
Sure. Well, and I think that's true. But you also don't want to let players, kind of. It depends on who it is. If it's Brady, then yeah. Brady or Rodgers, I think.
No, and those would be the only two.
That conversation, but I'm curious too if they wanted to wait to see what other moves. Now, I'm going to say this. A lot of people have asked me, because I'm the Cowboys fan, should the Titans go after Kellen Moore? I'm not I don't dislike Kellen Moore. I just think he's a little overrated. And I kind of want to see, how much did McCarthy have to do with that offense? Because say what you want about McCarthy as a head coach, he's pretty good offensive coordinator. He's going to call the plays, so I don't hate that. He called the plays, as Robbie pointed out, the year that the Packers won the Super Bowl with Rodgers. So let's see how that plays out. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know the infatuation with Kellen Moore. I've never been really a huge Kellen Moore guy. I think he'll get another job as an OC. He's been mentioned as head coaching candidate, at times. And so I think he'll get another job and be an OC, and he could eventually become a head coach. But I'd be a little hesitant if the Titans were to go that direction.
You know what I always think is just so interesting about the OC position? People can just flip-flop on them so easily, because I remember towards the beginning of the year, it's like, oh, like Kellen Moore, like he's going to be next up for a head coaching job. He's only 33 years old. He's like a next young star. And then you watch the Cowboys offense. Really, no offense to Dak, but really him crumble,
Sure.
Throw the interceptions in the game against the 49ers, and now he gets fired, and people are like, I don't really know how I feel about him. Like the offense, but I'm not just saying just you, because you obviously watch the Cowboys, but it's having the title of the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You are the easiest punching bag, I personally think.
Well, and so is a quarterback. They're kind of hand in hand, if you think about it.
Yeah, I would say offensive coordinator. I would say people are more like that game, I blame that on Dak, not the offensive coordinator.
Sure, and people have turned on Dak too. That's my point.
Yeah.
That like Dak, that I think there's been a group of people that are like, oh yeah, Dak belongs in the upper echelon conversation, and then it's like, nah, man, Dak sucks. Prime example, Ryan Tannehill. There was a lot of people that were on the Tanna train, and the as Jared used to call them, the boohoo Tannehill crew, and now all of a sudden they're off of it. And it's like, Ryan Tannehill, if you look, had a good year.
He had a really efficient year.
He rebounded quite a bit after that playoff game.
Well, and
except he got hurt.
The thing is too, heading into this past year, the biggest question was, okay, this is Tannehill's year. What can he do? Right? He's got a team around him. What can he do? And then he was the least bit of your worries this year, and was the number one guy you wanted on the field. He was efficient, right? Except when he got hurt and he couldn't play. So I think you're right? So it's quarterback and offensive coordinator are the easiest punching bags, and people are one day like, oh my God, they're the best ever. And then the next day it's like, oh, it's all their fault.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, I think it would be an option for the Tennessee Titans to look into. I mean, why not? Why not?
I'm
try
sure
to
it
get
will
the
be, but
best person for the job.
And I'm not going to, if they announce Kellen Moore as the OC, you're not going to hear me on here going like, Mike Vrabel should be fired for that move. That's an awful move. They're never going to win another game. I'm just going to have more of the, okay, let's just wait and see. I'm probably going to be that if it's ultimately Tim Kelly. Because a lot of it's going to have to do with personnel. That's really what it's going to come down to. Can Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel fix this roster?
Well, and that's the
doesn't
thing
matter who the play caller is at that
with
point.
anyone. I feel like right now is where the fan base is. We're waiting for them to name somebody, but how are you going to feel a certain way about who's named as offensive coordinator? You're just going to know what they've done in the past, right? So if it's Tim Kelly, you're going to know what he did with Deshaun Watson in Houston and with long neck.
Davis Mills.
I forgot for a second. Davis Mills.
Bud Light.
And if it's Eric Bieniemy, you're going to know what the Chiefs have done, or Matt Nagy, you're going to have Chiefs and Bears bias, right? But what truly is going to matter is what guys do they have here for that offensive coordinator?
We'll continue the discussion on the quarterback carousel. Where are some of these QBs going to land? I'll give you some thoughts. Michelle will give you some thoughts. Nick will report something. We'll do that coming up next. Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with one interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman. Weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You can track through the savannas of Africa. Wait on the magic moment on the Great Plains of North America. Or find the thrills of Patagonia. You can book your dream hunt at the SEI Convention, coming to Nashville for the very first time. Come find your adventure February 22nd through February 25th. It's the ultimate sportsman's market, a place for every hunter. And this year, it's happening Music City style, with special performances by Lee Brice, Big and Rich, The Frontman with Gretchen Wilson, and of course, Leonard Skinner. It's a celebration of the outdoor lifestyle, February 22nd through February 25th. Come find your adventure. Just log on to safariclub.org. One more time, that's safariclub.org. This convention will sell out, so reserve your spot today. Come find your adventure.
At 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, we recognize our veterans, active military, and first responders with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Super Bowl matchup has been set. The Philadelphia Eagles will take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57 on February 12th. And former Titans wide receiver A.J. Brown and punter Brett Kern will make their first appearance in the championship game. Patrick Mahomes had a few words after winning the AFC Championship game.
We played together. I said it from the beginning. When we were in the locker room, I said we got to be together, and this team stepped up against a great football team, and we showed this place that's Arrowhead. It's not Burrowhead out here.
And the Dallas Cowboys have moved on from offensive coordinator Kellen Moore after a 4-year run that saw the Cowboys offense ranked inside the top 10 3 times. Head coach Mike McCarthy said it was a mutual decision to part ways. And your Nashville Predators are at the All-Star break, and they'll be off until February 7th until their next matchup against the Vegas Golden Knights. Goaltender UC Saros will represent the Predators at the All-Star festivities on February 3rd and 4th. I'm Nick Keyser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Base.
Stone Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Crank City scores.
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
All the big topics.
That's what people want to know about.
Mixed with some entertainment.
So funny.
It's not funny.
Give it a minute.
This is Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
We got a great show for you, and even if we don't, who cares?
Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezovic, reporter Nick Keyser here with you. We're broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. 615-737-1025. That's our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com as we talk quarterbacks. Where will the quarterbacks end up in the NFL this year? The reports over the weekend that the Packers are kind of leaning towards wanting to move on from Aaron Rodgers, that he is aware of that situation. It's so funny how his career and Brett Favre's career have kind of gone the same path because.
Do you think he hates that?
Probably, but I mean, it is what it is. But they both have the one Super Bowl win. They've lost some, so
history really repeats itself.
It does, but I think he'll be a part of the process of deciding what's next and where he's going to go next. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but it raises the question of because there's a lot of, I made this list of the 2023 starting quarterbacks and I went division by division.
Okay.
And some were very easy, but then I had about half the league that I left blank because it's like, okay, what if this happens and this happens? And I had to fill it blank or to leave it blank and figure it out later. But I think that ultimately Rodgers is going to end up with the Jets. That just makes the most sense to me. It's not even the Nathaniel Hackett, connection. I just think that they are basically that's the only piece they're really missing. There's a few things they got to, shore up a little bit, but they're really a quarterback away from actually being a contender in that division, in a tough division.
Oh yeah.
So I have Rodgers to the Jets, and I think he could handle New York as well because that's something that really goes into it. Because they're done with Zach Wilson. They're moving on.
They're very done, and obviously there was a lot of drama just surrounding the whole quarterback position right throughout the season. But I mean the Jets, they beat the Bills, right? They were a team that was definitely in a playoff spot running if they didn't if it didn't all crash and burn at the end of the year. But obviously it's only going to be to an AFC team. The Packers made that clear that they'd be willing to trade him to the AFC. And, we've talked about just over the last couple of weeks and things like that about the playoffs and how when you look at quarterbacks compared to the NFC and compared to the AFC, right, the AFC has, just another level of quarterbacks, right? So the Bills have their quarterback, Dolphins, Patriots have theirs. I'm assuming. I don't think that they would go get Aaron Rodgers and
who, Patriots?
Yeah.
No, I think Bill has brought in Bill O'Brien to work with Mac Jones and to see what he's got in Mac Jones.
But they have their quarterback, is what I mean. Yeah, Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, Jets, you put an option out there. Houston Texans going to draft somebody. Colts, that's an interesting one. Colts, Jags have their quarterback. Tennessee Titans, question mark.
Well, let's look at this division by division. So, like I said, somewhere easy to fill in. Josh Allen, okay, Bills. I have a question mark next to Tua because I do worry about his health. I think Miami might be forced to look at other options. Brady is certainly in play, even though I don't, I connect the whole his kids live there and, they go to school there. That makes sense. It's warm. I'm not going to say that they would be the front runner. I still think Vegas would probably be the front runner for him, but I wouldn't rule it out. And it could be that Tua's advised take a year off and then see, and then, Brady could fill in the gap. But I have Tua as the starter for the Dolphins with a question mark because of his health.
So Adam Schefter had a report yesterday, and even if Tom Brady were to return for 2023 season, Dolphins are not expected to pursue him. They were linked to him last year. Per sources, Miami is committed to Tua. But like you said, that comes out now. What if Tua, he's still in concussion protocol, I saw as of at the end of last week. So I'm assuming nothing much has changed. So, if his health is in question, they're definitely going to be a team, right? They've got the stud wide receivers. They've got a good roster. They should have been a playoff team. Or did they sneak in?
Who?
The Dolphins. No.
Yes.
Yes. Who'd they play?
They lost to the
Bills. Yes, with their third string quarterback. Yes. How could I forget? I feel like that was so long ago. So you know what I mean? But they were talked about, and with Tua and when healthy, a team that could make a run in the playoffs. So they're another team where quarterback with Tua,
Right.
But that's a big question mark regarding his health.
Okay, so the AFC North, Bengals, Joe Burrow, easy. Kenny Pickett, Steelers. Yep. Deshaun Watson, Browns. I do
Ravens.
have the Ravens
question mark
because I don't think they're going to let Lamar go. They definitely wouldn't let him go without getting something for him, but I think they'll ultimately get a deal done. This feels like one of those things where we all think it might crash and burn, but I do think they'll get a deal done. So I will put Lamar, but it is a question mark.
I'm a little bit more concerned for the Ravens, and I say that because when you look at this quarterback draft class and when you look at next year's quarterback draft class, there are a lot of young, promising guys. And Lamar Jackson is looking for money that above what Kyler Murray just got. And Kyler Murray kind of screwed the Ravens, I guess you could say, just like Christian Kirk did for an A.J. Brown. And when you have that one player who hasn't really proved much of anything in Kyler Murray, who gets that huge contract, and then you have Lamar Jackson, who, yes, he was an MVP. He did win the MVP, right? He's only won one playoff game. And, if you're the Ravens, and he is better than, a lot of other options, but that's a good team. That Ravens team is a very, very good team. And they should have beat the Bengals. They should have won that game. And that was with, a backup quarterback in. But they've already been, negotiating for over a year. I don't know. I just get bad vibes that he doesn't have an agent. They've already been talking about this for over a year. A lot of other teams are looking for a quarterback, and a lot of other teams, I'm sure, would be willing to give him top dollar as the last piece to their puzzle.
Yeah, if he does leave, I put the Atlanta Falcons as a top front runner for him. I think he'd fit that offense. I think Art could put that offense around him, and they could have the pieces to make that move happen.
What about Baltimore to the Jets? Or Lamar to the Jets.
To the Jets? If they don't get Rodgers? Could. Yeah. I think
that'd be a really great landing spot, I think, for any quarterback looking to move.
Here's the thing, though. I always look at, because this is important. Could he handle New York? You have to be the right mindset, and Lamar is very laid back and chill. I don't know if he could handle New York.
What do you mean, just the market?
The media. It's a thing. It's totally a thing.
Oh, believe me, I know.
You're from there. That's what I mean. But
you're preaching to the choir.
I think you have to have the right. You have to be the right person to be able to handle that. And it's not just New York, Philly, LA. I mean,
yeah, I would say the one different thing about New York compared to a Philly, a Chicago, a Boston is New York is more focused on the entire league as a whole.
Yeah.
Like you listen to like Akeisha, J. Will, and Max. Yeah, they're near New York. They're not your local media, but they're covering, in New York and in LA, yeah, they're the biggest markets, but they're covering, national news. Whereas Philly, Boston, they're huge markets, but they're focused specifically on those teams.
All right, coming up next, I'm going to run through my list of where I have quarterbacks landing, and including several question marks. We'll do that coming up next. Brett Kern at the bottom of the hour. It's Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knesvik here for Superbook Sports, and our final 2 teams are here competing for the championship. We got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles facing off in Arizona for Super Bowl 57, and there's no better place to wager on the football title, than Superbook Sports. Superbook has the best menu of prop bets in the business. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. Listen, I think Philly will be taking the crown home this year. I think their team is just more complete, and I think they will get the win in 2 weeks. And with over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas, there's no better place to wager on Superbook Sports. So take Philly minus the 2. Win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Losing your hair? It's Chase McCabe. No matter your age, gender, or type of hair loss, it's never a good feeling when you see too much hair on your brush or you begin to notice bald spots. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 members get hair they love. If you're affected by hair loss and not sure what to do, let Hair Club help customize a solution for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today and get started at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text SAVVY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text SAVVY to 42424. That's SAVVY to 42424.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years? The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. taking you through your mid-morning.
Love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. This is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life.
Where'd you find those crazy characters?
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic, and Nick Keyser. Hey, it's Love Week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This music is so appropriate for this. Brought to you by A Moment's Peace Day Spa and Salon in Cool Springs. All this week, listen to Robbie and Rexro between 6 and 9 for details on how you could win a $100 gift card to A Moment's Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs and qualify for a chance to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamond gift card. Looking forward to that. Brett Kern coming up in about 15 minutes, but playing the quarterback carousel game. All right, I'm going to run through this, and you tell me, just give me your thoughts. Obviously, you know, the ones that are in place we won't spend any time on. We kind of went through the AFC East and the AFC North. I have decided that I do, you know, you've kind of convinced me of this, and I just want it to be a little more fun, that Lamar will move elsewhere. So I have him with the Falcons. Okay. So I have him going from the Ravens to the Falcons. The AFC East, I think the only major move is Rodgers goes to the Jets. So I have Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Okay. And then Allen, Tua, Mac Jones, as is. Joe Burrow, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson.
As is.
And the Ravens, I have no idea if they move on from Lamar. So they might go with their backup that filled in for him, and I'm blanking on his name. The AFC West, Chiefs, Mahomes, Chargers, Herbert, Broncos are stuck with Russell whether they want to be or not. Tom Brady goes to the Raiders. I am convinced.
You are very convinced on that.
I have been on that for a long time. I don't think that changes. Tom and McDaniels get back together.
See, I get the McDaniels aspect and even the Devontae Adams, but what else?
He's got weapons.
But what else is he has?
Darren
Devontae
Waller,
Adams.
Darren Waller.
Okay.
He's pretty good tight end. Josh Jacobs. They need to fix the offensive line.
The offensive line and the defense. I mean, the team won 4 games.
I understand that. I think a lot of that was on the head coach, but
so why would he go there?
Because he likes the head coach.
Yes, and they
because he tells the head coach what to do,
well, he told the offensive coordinator what to do when he was with the Patriots, right? You know,
right? But
could it be a different dynamic now?
I think it would be, and I think that Davis, the owner, Al Davis's son, Mark Davis, would go for it because he's just so desperate to win a Super Bowl that I think he would say, you know what, let's try it.
I think that is the easiest place to say Tom Brady will go. I'm not convinced he'll go there. Because I think the team, you can look at the weapons. Okay, you get Tom Brady, you got Devontae Adams, you got Josh Jacobs. But the offensive line and the defense need a lot of work. And I don't think it's enough that you would be able to do in the offseason. I think Tom Brady a couple years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, you wouldn't have to do as much work. But I think right now, you know, his age, I still think, you know, he can be a great quarterback if he has an offensive line that can block for him and he doesn't have to do much of moving back there. But I just think that the Raiders are not close enough.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see who's right and who's wrong. AFC South, the division we're all interested in here. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, in Jacksonville. I do believe the Titans hang on to Ryan Tannehill, so nothing to see here. I believe the Texans draft Bryce Young, and he will be their quarterback.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
And quarterbacking the Indianapolis Colts from the University of Kentucky, Will Levis.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure, and then again, I could laugh at this take, you know, in a couple months whenever we see some moves made and the draft happen. But I actually said that we were talking about, you know, players in the Colts, and I think that Chris Ballard will finally draft a quarterback because he's been trying to fill this role, fill this quarterback room with free agent quarterbacks who have proven themselves before, who are too old. I mean, they've had 5-6 quarterbacks, right, in the last 5-6 years, ever since Luck retired on them. But yeah, I think they draft Will Levis. And I saw a tweet the other day. It was like, something like there's no way the Colts draft Bryce Young. There's no way Jim Irsay drafts a 5'9", 170-pound quarterback, and talking about Bryce Young. And I think, I do. I think they will draft Will Levis. I'm very,
You
very
thought
sure.
I was going to say something else.
I thought you were going to say Derek Carr.
No.
Derek Carr or like Tannehill or something. I don't know. I was very confused.
All right, in the NFC, Dak stays in Dallas, Jalen with the Eagles. Giants, I do believe, re-signed Daniel Jones. That's going to be interesting because I don't know if the money's going to allow them to keep Jones and Saquon, but
Saquon's going to be a free agent.
You could maybe get away with it one more year by using the tag, but Daniel Jones, I think, stays there. The Commanders, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I would honestly ride Heineke for a year and see what happens, but I think the Wentz experiment's done in the NFL. I mean, he can be a backup.
He won a Super Bowl, so
not really. I mean, he did.
He got a ring.
He got a ring, but it was
He
false.
got him there, technically.
Sorta. I mean, he was a part of it. He was there. NFC North, Vikings, Kirk Cousins, even though they should probably be looking at what's next. Lions will stick with Goff.
Yep.
Bears with Fields. Packers, if Rodgers goes to the Jets, what I would do is see what you have, even though I think you already know, in Jordan Love, and just be bad and get ready for next year where you draft your next guy.
Well, the interesting thing about Love is, right, he's been in the league for 4 years now. They're going to have to eventually, figure out what they're doing with him. Are you going to give him a new contract? And if you are, then you're moving off Rodgers and you're trading him. I think we're leaning more. I'm more confident that Rodgers will not be a Packer next year than I was like last year when we were discussing this all. But Love the Packers have kind of shot themselves in the foot because they drafted him like when Rodgers was still. I mean, Rodgers can still play, right? They drafted him 4 years ago under Rodgers when you had no intent to move off Rodgers soon, and now he's been in the league for 4 years now and hasn't had really any starting experience. I think maybe 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
So I think they go with him as their starting quarterback, but I think it's essentially a tank year.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would see what you got, and maybe he'll surprise you and then tank. So I have Jordan Love as the starter for the Packers. NFC South. This one is an interesting division because I had this wide open when I first started this. I believe the Panthers hired Frank Reich because they decided they were going to see what Darnold could be, and they were going to let Frank Reich develop Sam Darnold. So I think they stick with Sam Darnold. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe try some other things either through the draft or free agency.
Do you think they're over Matt Corral?
And
quarterback?
Matt Corral, that's another one. They want to see what Matt Corral is too. He was hurt. So maybe see what they got there. So I kind of think Darnold is going to – because when he came back, he didn't do all that bad. So
He was just hurt, right?
I think they'll see what happens there. I already said Lamar to the Falcons. All right? Because that'll be interesting. The Saints. The Saints are a conundrum. What do they do? Well, they could bring back Jameis Winston and try that experiment again. I don't think they will. Same with Andy Dalton.
You could hear the frustrations, too, in Winston.
Oh, yeah.
Those comments on, well, you said I got hurt, and they said my job would be here for me. And
yeah,
so I have a feeling that's not.
He's going to have to go be a backup somewhere else. There's going to be another quarterback that, helped his team play very, very well and ultimately get to the NFC Championship game, and then they lost, but he was hurt.
Purdy?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, I'm like.
I have Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Saints.
I could see that.
I think he's the perfect stopgap for them, and I don't know how good necessarily they'll be, but I think middle of the pack, kind of like they were. But I could see Jimmy G landing with the New Orleans Saints. NFC West, I think the 49ers stick with Purdy. I don't know what they'll do with Lance, but I think it'll have to be the right offer for them to move off of him because of the uncertainty with Purdy. The Rams, it'll be Stafford or Baker. If Stafford's not healthy, I would stick with Baker.
100%.
And ride that. I think the Seahawks will draft C.J. Stroud and keep Geno, and maybe Geno starts the year and then eventually Stroud takes it.
I mean, that would be the perfect combination.
Yep.
Have Geno for another year as your starter, CJ learn behind him, maybe play a couple games depending on if they're, going to make the playoffs or whatever. But I was thinking that the Seahawks would be the other team that would also draft a quarterback.
And then the Cardinals right now are stuck with Kyler Murray, but I also wouldn't be surprised if something changed there.
So reports came out this weekend through Adam Schefter on Kyler Murray that he's not going to be ready to start the season.
Yeah.
So they're
going to have to do something.
They're going to have to do something. They obviously have that huge contract. They got a new GM. They're going to have a new head coach. Another name, another player out there, Derek Carr, right? So
I missed him. Yeah, I have him with the Bucs. Sorry. Derek Carr to the Bucs. Yep.
Okay, yeah, because I've got the list up here of, guys. You talked about Sam Darnold. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm assuming, will stay the backup in Miami. Maybe he'll start the year and they'll play with him if Tua, is still not healthy. Yeah, those are.
So I have my list. We can compare when these moves actually happen and see how close I was on the list. But so the big movement, I have Tannehill staying put here, Rodgers to the Jets, Carr to the Bucs, Brady to the Raiders. Let's see. Jordan Love takes over in Green Bay, and then some draft picks in there. Bryce Young to the Texans, Levis to the Colts, and Stroud to the Seahawks.
We have a texter quick. Niners fan, with a rookie QB, they exceeded expectations when Purdy got hurt. It was a blessing because then he could not be blamed for the loss. San Fran needs to let Jimmy G walk. You said you see him with the Saints as a free agent, and they can trade Trey Lance to the Titans for the 11th pick and bring Tom Brady in for the next season. They would have an excellent chance to win the Super Bowl. Purdy gets a year of learning from the GOAT. Wow, Tim from Spring Hill.
Okay, Tim. I don't see it. But okay.
A lot of things would need to happen.
You are entitled to your opinion, as I am mine. There you go.
Listen, you can think that until it comes true.
And these opinions will probably change a million times between now and them actually happening.
Correct.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Brett Kern, longtime Titans punter. He is now the Eagles punter. He's going to play in the Super Bowl. We'll get his thoughts on yesterday, the emotions, and looking ahead. That's all next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
When you want to rock.
Let's go, don't wait. This night's almost over. Do all the monsters come out at night? Why do we sleep when we want to?
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South. It's a new year, so I thought I would share my personal resolution with you. My resolution is to be able to hula hoop on the trampoline for 1 minute. This might be painful. Since I've had years of practice making resolutions, I thought I'd give you some tips on making yours. It should involve 3 key components. First, make it something new, like texting without using your thumbs. Second, make it easy, like reading more or at least turning the subtitles on while binge watching Netflix. And third, make sure no matter what that you buy your next new car from Newton. We want to make your purchase fast and easy with Newton FastPass. We'll even deliver the car to you. Remember, new, easy, and buy at Newton. I have a feeling this next year is going to be great. Shop at NewtonNissanSouth.com to start your resolution today. See website for details. Put your resolutions in writing.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
No problem, sweetie.
I can't believe you're able to fit everything in that little sedan.
Bye!
When they move out, you can move on to a house that fits your life. It's time to live in a space that fits your family.
Let Regal Realty Group get you into a home that is less to take care of. Save money or even make money on the sale of your current home. Call 1-833-OUTKICK.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I got some good news. Taking you through your mid-morning, this is Chase and Michelle. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Back here, Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic with you. Let's say hello to my pal, Brett Kern. Eagles punter, longtime Titans punter, going to the Super Bowl. Brett, congratulations. How you doing, my friend?
Appreciate it. All is good. Good win yesterday, so a little celebrating last night, and back at it this morning at the facility, just kind of getting the body right and ready to go.
Yeah, so let's go through that game. Obviously, a lot of weird plays that happened, and including one involving you. I mean, I remember I'm watching on TV, I see the punt, and I'm thinking, what happened there? And then I see you pointing up and everybody on the sideline pointing up. You hit the wire, right? The wire of the Skycam, is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know Fox implemented like 5 of those Skycams now. There was just wires everywhere. I actually hit it twice in warm-ups, and Jake Elliott, the kicker here, he hit it once as well. So we were kind of joking about it in warm-ups, and then it actually came true. I actually smoked it in the game, and it was a good punt. And then all of a sudden, it looked like it was a good spiral, and then it hit that wire, and it just totally dropped down. And I immediately looked back at the official, and he kind of looked at me dumbfounded. And I knew when I got that look from the official, I was in trouble. And I knew we had to, replay it because it's like hitting the scoreboard in Dallas. You get to replay it, but I don't know. I guess they had to review it, didn't find evidence of it or whatever happened. But I knew my phone blew up afterwards that it hit the wire, and so it was just a very unique play. And I've been in the league a long time, and I guess it's the first time I've ever seen that happen. So,
well, I know I was laughing because they kept showing you on TV, and I was like, man, he's mad. Like, I haven't seen Brett mad like that before, but I get it. I mean, it was hard to see from TV, where exactly the wires were. But I have a feeling, Brett, you know how this works, that this is going to be one of those things that, well, we may have gotten it wrong at the time, but now we'll review it. We'll tell you that we got it wrong, but then we'll go back and actually make it a rule where it's something we can look at a little bit better.
Yeah, well, it's we were kind of joking around in the locker room after the game because I guess Fox has the Super Bowl too. So it's I guess it might happen again, but hopefully, I'm used to that one camera, usually that one Skycam, and when there's a punt, it backs up and it either gets behind you or just gets out of the play completely because it's a punt. And usually they do that for kickoff and other kind of special teams plays. But with that other camera, you're adding, instead of 5-6 wires, now you're doubling that amount with the wires that are going across the field, and it happened, is what it is, and just thankful we got the win. So,
Eagles punter Brett Kern is on the line with us. So, what was the sideline like when Devontae makes the catch on the sideline? Obviously, that was a pretty big play. in that game, as we find out a little bit later, did y'all kind of have an idea of what was going on, or when you saw them trying to run the hurry up, or what was it like?
Yeah, I was actually standing next to because I was actually getting ready for punt, and Jalen kind of said, "Hey, we got this," and so I was standing next to Ian Book, who is quarterback here, third string, and so I looked at him and I said, "We got this," and he told me what the play was and what was supposed to happen, and immediately it was just like a little pick route. I think it's supposed to go out to Kenneth Gainwell, and Dallas was picking for him out in the flat, and immediately it didn't happen. He throws that thing down there, and it's just between him and AJ. They're both. It's a privilege to be able to watch those two play on Sundays, and even just watching them practice, because both of them, the talent that they have and how they catch the ball is it's awesome.
We got Brett Kern on with us right now. Brett, you've been in the league since 2008. You had a long career here in Nashville with the Tennessee Titans, and then you head up to the Eagles. I'm sure in the time between, the Titans and the Eagles, you thought maybe, you're going to retire. You had a lot of things going through your head, and now you're heading to a Super Bowl.
She's saying you're old, Brett.
No, I'm not. I am not. But you've been in the league for a while, right? You probably had retirement running through your head after the Titans, and now you're with the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I mean, would you have thought this was, even possible these last couple months?
Yeah, I think, my wife and I were last night after, my family all came up and got the kids to bed at the little apartment I'm staying at up here. And it's just kind of a moment to just reflect and, just going back to, just how my career started, in Denver. And then, I just remember her, late at night over in Toledo at a golf dome. The place would shut down at 9:00, and the owner was gracious enough to let me come in and punt. When everything closed down, just to try to get ready for workouts and the combine and all that kind of stuff. And now here, being up in Philly and the way things went down with the Titans was obviously, Stonehouse, he broke an NFL record and he smashed it. And so kudos to him. And so, after that happened, just kind of reassessing and knowing that I could still play. Just didn't know when, if that was going to happen, if I was going to get the opportunity or where. And so, had a couple workouts and was staying mentally ready, physically ready. And then obviously when the Eagles called, it was a no-brainer for me, just because, knowing the people that are up here and the people that are on the staff, that was actually with the Titans with Gannon, Jonathan Gannon and J. Mike and Patullo, and obviously with AJ and Alex Tanney's on the staff here. And, just very familiar with, their head strength coach, Ted Rath. I actually graduated Toledo with him. And so it made the transition easier to come up here. And so, it's, I'm very thankful, very blessed. I'm obviously a man of faith. And so, the way God works sometimes, I don't understand it all the time, but, it's just a huge blessing to be up here and to have this opportunity, after 15 years to be able to, say you're going to a Super Bowl is pretty cool.
We got Brett Kern on with us. Brett, you mentioned a bunch of different names, who you've seen in your career here with the Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown specifically. What has it been like, just to experience that with him after spending a couple years in Nashville with him? And another question quick, how crazy really is Philadelphia? I saw some videos last night of the streets, and the fans up there are like no other. How crazy has it been just playing in Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I really don't know how to describe it. I've had some buddies come up. A really good buddy come up for the game last week against the Giants, and then another really good buddy of mine came up for this game, and I told him just be prepared. And both of them after the games were like, I've never experienced anything like this, and it's just a way of life. It's generational. It's passed down. If your parents are Philly, from Philly or just Philly fans in general, like it's forced upon you as a kid. It's just what it is. So. The atmosphere is electric. It's a great place to play. A hard stadium to kick in, I will say that. It's not the friendliest for kickers and punters, but it's just a great environment, great atmosphere, and fun place to play.
And on AJ though, Brett, I mean, he's obviously been through a lot in the last year, getting traded to there. Have you kind of seen him use that chip on his shoulder even more? Because he had a fantastic year for the Eagles, and how much have you really seen him grow from the time that he left here in the offseason and then you both end up in Philadelphia now?
Yeah, I mean, AJ's a stud. We've had multiple conversations since I've been here, and just great talks just about our times in Tennessee, and obviously being here together. And he's grown. I think just the position he's here. I think he's just taking the responsibility to kind of be that guy and to be that leader. And there's a lot of veteran leaders on this team. Guys that have been around here with the Eagles for a long time, but just guys that have been in the league for a long time. And so I think to learn under those guys too as well is huge for him. And he's really, taken into that role. As far as being that one guy, that stud receiver, and obviously with Devontae here too, both of them kind of relish that opportunity that they're between the two of them a dynamic duo. And so, but he's a great guy, man. Our lockers are almost right across from each other, and it was really cool just to have a moment with him on the field yesterday and just congratulated him, give him a big hug, and just told him I was proud of him. So.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Hey, Brett, appreciate you taking the time today to do this. Congratulations again. Going to be exciting seeing you and AJ in the Super Bowl here in a couple weeks. A lot of storylines with that game for sure. But
yeah.
Does your Kelsey talk as much trash as the Kelsey in Kansas City?
No, but our Kelsey is hysterical too. So they're both. You can definitely tell they're cut from the same cloth. They're one's the tight end gets the ball a lot. The other one's in the trenches. But they're both funny. They're he's kind of the ringleader of the jokes and all that kind of stuff, and the O-line, and it's a special group. But that'll be interesting matchup, and obviously with Andy Reid, coaching here for so long, there's a lot of people around this building that still love him, respect him. So I don't know what nickname they'll have for this Super Bowl, the Kelsey Bowl, or the I don't even know what else you can come up with. I'm sure you could do a poll on what would be the best Super Bowl name for this. But it'll be a great matchup, and it'll be exciting. Yeah, no doubt. Brett, thanks so much for doing this, and enjoy the next couple weeks, and we'll be watching on February 12th.
Thanks, Brett. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Yep, y'all take care.
You too. Brett Kern, longtime Titans punter, now with the Philadelphia Eagles. He will be punting in the Super Bowl here in a couple weeks, and appreciate him for taking the time to join us. We'll react to some of the things you heard, including his comments on A.J. Brown, because I think I have seen some growth just from afar in A.J. as he's gone through everything, and now he's playing in a Super Bowl. We'll do that next on Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville.
Back to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Okay, I've been telling you about Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars now for a little bit. It's an awesome place. I was in there just a couple of weeks ago, took a friend. It was an awesome atmosphere, very chill, very relaxed, and they have the best old-fashioned. I go in there, I have to have an old-fashioned, and it has been proven to be that, voted on over 14 other bars and restaurants in Nashville. They also have an exclusive relationship with Davidoff Cigars, the best cigars in the world that allow access to rare cigars that only Blend can carry. And even if you aren't a cigar smoker, the ventilation system that they have keeps that smoky smell out. It's enjoyable for everybody that might be with you. Blend Bar also has a VIP area. All you got to do is contact my man Jeremy for that. You can have a private party, and it's located at 508 Church Street in downtown Nashville. It's located just blocks away from the Ryman, from Bridgestone Arena, from Nissan Stadium. So if you're looking for a cool place to go before an event, Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars is your spot. Just go in there, check it out, and have some fun, just like I do on various occasions. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars is a luxury redefined. Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovyx.
Orgovyx Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovyx is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovyx may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovyx can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovyx treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovyx may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovyx. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
You're listening to Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Back here, Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Appreciate Eagles punter Brett Kern for joining us here on the show as he will head to the Super Bowl. And, I was just telling Michelle, Brett did a Smashville Live with us a few years ago, pre-COVID, and he and I got to know each other, and it's just whenever I'd be out at the facility, he'd be like, Chase, what's up? Just a great guy, family man, spent a lot of time here. I would imagine when football is done, he will still spend a lot of the time here, but it's cool to see how things certainly work out, for a guy like Brett Kern that, ends up getting cut here, and you understand the business side, and then now he's playing in a Super Bowl.
Well, yes, Chase, on that, but really quick breaking news. The Chargers are expected to make their former Cowboys OC, Kellen Moore, their new offensive coordinator, per Ian Rappaport.
That was quick.
So that was very quick, considering he got fired, late last night? And that is just coming out about a minute ago.
He didn't get fired. They mutually agreed to part ways.
Yep.
Come on
Got
now.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, on the Brett Kern front, great to hear him. Great to hear, his thoughts on A.J. Brown and him just saying, we've had a lot of conversations. Hey, the things I would do to be a fly on that wall to hear those conversations. But, A.J. won, right? Let's just...
Yeah. He did.
He did, right? He had a phenomenal season. Everybody can say, well, in these last couple games, he hasn't been much of a factor. Okay, they were 2 blowout games, right? He has been a huge part in this Eagles offense. I have a feeling he'll be a huge part in this Super Bowl because it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout for the Eagles. But he won. And for everybody saying, well, I think it was a good trade. No.
No, it wasn't.
For the Eagles, yes.
Yeah, for the Eagles, it got John fired. It did. And we all said, and I'm never going to run from this. At the time, I agreed with the move. I understood why they did it. I hated to see it happen, But I was like, you know what? I'm fine with it. I get
you
it.
try to justify it in the moment. It's like, okay,
Sure.
well, he was injured and this and that. This rookie receiver, Traylon Burks. And then
Right.
we see how it pans out, right?
Right.
It's like the initial thought. You're like, oh, I don't know if I like this, but okay, let's just see how it pans out.
And the thing is, we don't even know truly if it worked on the Titans end or not yet, because Traylon Burks, when healthy, could turn out to be a true number one receiver, and then everybody's going to be like, oh, okay. Now, John's not going to see the fruits of that labor, but ultimately, I mean, it could turn out that way. But, I think it's important, too, that facts can change. You obviously learn more as you go along, and so therefore you can change your opinion.
Of course.
And I have. I mean, now I look at it and go, okay, well, it was a bad move, but I stand by at the time when it first happened. It was like, okay, I get it. I was okay with it. Not necessarily was I sitting here going like, oh, I've been telling you they should have traded him. Yeah, get him out of here. But, the things that stand out to me are I don't think he had the dropsies as much, so he worked on that. He obviously made a lot of big plays, and the big thing was he stayed healthy this year, and that's why he balled out. And he is a huge part of the reason that they are in the Super Bowl. Obviously, their quarterback had a lot to do with that too.
Their offensive line, their
Devontae
defense.
Smith had a lot to do with that, and now their all-pro punter has a lot to do with that. But I think that it just everything works out the way it's supposed to. And congrats to AJ. And I've seen Titans fans. I feel like for the most part they're pulling for him because they don't blame him necessarily.
Some do.
I think most blame J-Rob. But there are some that blame AJ.
See, I actually was going to bring this up today on the show because I feel like we didn't get much of it this morning when we asked, Titans fans, are you rooting for the Chiefs or are you rooting for Brett Kern and AJ Brown and the Eagles? And a lot of people were saying, Chiefs, we don't want to root for AJ, we want to root for Brett Kern. But I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the franchise traded him. They could have tagged him, they could have kept him, they could have made him wait out for a contract. They let him go. So just be happy for him, right? I get the social media. You can get mad about it, whatever. All I say is, as the media week ahead of the Super Bowl comes, AJ, you won. Don't try to make a comment. Just focus on the game, and you can make a comment if you want after you win a Super Bowl or come in second or don't win.
Do you think they're going to win?
Yes. I think they are the more complete team. Listen, I should not count out Patrick Mahomes because I thought that the Bengals were going to win. And then when you saw that Travis Kelce wasn't, fully healthy, Mahomes wasn't fully healthy, and then all the receivers that were out in that game. And hey, they still won. But I do think this Eagles team is the most complete roster. So yeah, I would say they're my favorite as of now.
I'm not making a pick yet. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to let
you need to wait closer.
I'm going to let the emotion of yesterday subside a little bit because I'm just going to be honest with you. I lost all my bets, so I'm just not happy about that right now. But that's okay. Still use the Superbook Sports app, my favorite app. Go download it. But I'm just going to give it a little bit. We're going to see how Mahomes' ankle is. I bet he can't walk today.
I will say, though, we did take a look at the Eagles' schedule from this year, and not to take anything away from them because they did make it to the Super Bowl, and it is the NFL, and it is hard. But they never played, like, Buffalo, like, any of those hard AFC teams. They never played, obviously, the Chiefs.
No, but they were in a good division.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did have
quarterbacks like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, like, star quarterbacks. Who have they played?
I would need to go look at their schedules real quick. I mean, Dak is not elite, as we have talked about. Let's see
like
here.
Elite, Mahomes, Burrow.
I mean, they're going to play
Herbert.
Mahomes. Daniel Jones is in their division, not elite. Goff, no. You're right.
They just haven't had to play.
You're right.
An elite guy like an Allen, a Mahomes, a Burrow.
I mean, Rodgers is the
Herbert.
only one that's elite that they played, and obviously that's a different Packers team.
When they played the Cowboys, when they beat them, Dak didn't play. When they lost to them,
Right.
Dak did.
Right. That's true. So, yeah,
Not taking anything away from them. Just saying.
By the way, I love the Titans fans that are freaking out about the Chargers hiring Kellen Moore, and they're like, are we even looking for an offensive coordinator? It's like one move happens. It's like, are we even trying? What are we doing? Kellen Moore was out there.
Just wait. It's okay, everyone. I promise.
That's fine. By the way, congrats to Ben Jones. He has been named to the Pro Bowl. Very, very cool that he's going to get to go to the Pro Bowl. We'll see what the future holds for Ben Jones, but I think that's awesome that he's going to get to do that. That is going to do it for us, though. A fantastic show, and as Michelle said, it flew by today.
Yeah.
There was a lot to talk
discuss.
about, but I appreciate Jonathan Hutton and, of course, Brett Kern. If you missed any of those, you can subscribe to the Chase and Michelle podcast and head to thegamenashville.com and also subscribe there. By the way, on the way out, I'm going to rant on this. There is this number that calls me every day, and it's a spam call. And if they don't stop, I'm going to give the phone number out on the air, and then y'all can deal with them.
Is it the one from abroad? Remember when we were sitting here? And
no, it isn't
from...
that one. It's from Carthage, Tennessee. So whoever's calling me from Carthage, Tennessee, leave me a voicemail, and I might call you back. I probably won't. But
You
Caroline,
won't.
Willie, and D-Mace is coming up next. They'll have full reaction to championship weekend. That's all next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.